Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters is beginning right now. Guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be either a current or a former active member of Toastmasters International. And you must have completed at least 6 of the official speeches. But if you have substantial presentation experience, you may apply for membership after you demonstrate your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech right here in the club. Our requests for membership are subject to approval of our club members. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure that you show your name and any role, if any, you are playing in today's meeting. Simply click on your face and select rename in order to do that. We have members and guests from many countries around the world. So as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of your language and word usage so that you won't be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note we are recording this meeting, and your audio and video may contribute to our club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you are not speaking. And with that, let us welcome to the virtual stage our club president, DTM Lou Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Sergeant at Arms. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, for another great meeting of online presenters, and special welcome to our guests. Thank you for joining us. This is wonderful that you are here for a special event. This is our video speech contest. We also have another contest. Oftentimes our Vice President PR has to correct me. We have a webinar contest and a video speech. This is the video speech. Okay, David's nodding. Okay, I got it right. So our video speech contest is unique to online presenters, specifically undistricted clubs. It gives us a chance to send a excellent speaker off to international headquarters to be judged as the, I guess it'd be the world champion of video speech contest, something like that, of video speakers. I'm not sure what the exact title is, but a chance for those folks to compete in a contest they would not otherwise be able to, like the international speech contestant does. Okay, I'm sure there's some other aspects to the video speech contest that our contest master may share with all of you. With that, we are going to jump right into things. Please welcome to the virtual stage our contest master, Toastmaster Jim Barber.
Thank you, Lou. And the contest master is not going to really cover any other aspects of the contest because I think Lou did that just fine just now. Welcome everybody, though, to make it official. Welcome to the 2022 Video Speech Contest presented by Online Presenters Toastmasters. We have 2 contestants this evening, unless things have changed in the last few minutes. Nobody's saying anything, so I'm assuming that's the case then. Great. We have 2 contestants this evening who will be competing for the club championship in the 2022 video speech contest. Before we move to the contest, though, let's have an explanation of the rules from our chief judge this evening, Mr. David Carr. David.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to find something that I misplaced. As you heard earlier, this is a contest. It's essentially the international speech contest. But in order to compete with the international speech contest and move up to higher levels, you need to have higher levels to move to, which traditionally would be your area, your division, your district, and then the district winner has a chance of going on to be the world champion of public speaking. For online clubs and a number of other clubs that around the world and various parts of the world that are outside of a district, they provide the video speech contest. And in past year, we've invited everybody to participate. This year, because of a rule change, we're specifically looking for people who are members of our club, which is undistricted, but are not also a member of another club that is districted, because then they actually would be disqualified. So we have two speakers who have stepped forward to be contestants in this evening's festivities, and I have confirmed that the speakers are qualified to compete and that the judges are qualified to judge. So we're going to be trying to run this as cleanly and officially as we can. We will follow the same basic procedures as the International Speech Contest. In order to be eligible, a contestant must be a Toastmaster in good standing of a club in good standing, have completed a minimum of 6 speeches in the official program, and not presently be an international district or area officer or have declared their intent to run for such offices. All speeches are to be original, and quoted material needs to be identified. Speakers may stay in the room, as in the video room here. No one's allowed in or out of the room once the contest has begun until the last speaker has spoken. Actually, I don't think we're set up to control that, but that's okay. The time of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Any speaker speaking less than 4 minutes, 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes, 30 seconds will be disqualified. And the timing cards will be shown as a virtual background. Graham is one of the timers. Lou is also a timer as a backup capacity. She should be able to find that Graham will always be in the upper left-hand corner in grid view, or if you go to speaker view, he should still remain visible. Let's see. Timing starts with the first word uttered when the speaker uses any form of communication to the audience. There will be 1 minute of silence between speakers so that the judges may complete their forms. And judges, you should have all received in advance a link to a digital version of the ballot that'll help us get the results quickly. I also posted in the chat my cell phone number so that in the event of other technical difficulties, you can text me your selections. Judges have been instructed not to consider time in the ranking of speakers. All judges have been briefed and are qualified. There is a secret tie-breaking judge known only to the chief judge. Protests may be entered only by contestants or the judges of this contest to either the chief judge or the contest chair. Once the results have been announced, all decisions are final. Are there any questions?
One question from me as timekeeper, Mr. Chief Judge. Do either of the contestants need an audible warning at the 5 minute, the 6 minute, and the 7 minute? I can give a warning, but I should also warn you that that will take control of the screen to the meeting timekeeper slide for a couple of seconds in the middle of your speech. So do either of the contestants require an audible signal? Nope. In that case, there shan't be one. I'll turn my camera off and you will only see the timing slides.
All right. Thank you, Graham. Any other questions? And if not, let me authorize our contest master to take us forward into the wonderfulness that will be this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chief Judge David Carr. Following up on what Graham indicated a couple of moments ago, we are doing something a little different from most Toastmasters contests in that we are permitting people to keep their videos on. In fact, we're encouraging people to keep their videos on so that our presenters have an audience to present to. However, because any noises that are picked up will cause the screen to change, the recording to change, would everybody, except for the person speaking, please mute themselves And that way we won't have any problems with the microphone, with the camera going in an odd direction. Okay, we normally have a 1 minute to prepare for the judges to get ready, but I think we've basically had that in all other cases. I'm going to stall for a couple of minutes, talk rather slowly, let everybody get prepared, and then we'll move into the contest. I think that's been long enough. Okay, let's do it. We have two presenters, as I say, two contestants this evening. Our first one is Angela Heath, and our second is Marty Sandler. So judges, you can mark your ballots in advance and be prepared. Let's get started with our contestant, with our first contestant, Angela. Angela, would you please do a mic check? Make sure we can hear you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We hear you. Now do a video check. Do you like the way your video looks?
I don't see myself. When I'm talking, it's not, I have it on speaker view, but it's not showing me myself.
Yep, I sympathize. Yep. That can be tricky sometimes.
Let me see. I'm going to put it
I
on.
think you look good if that
You can
helps.
also pin yourself, Angela. That'll guarantee that you can see yourself.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
You can pin yourself.
Okay. If I pin myself, will I lose the timer?
Try it and see.
No, I
think.
didn't.
Okay.
No, this is good.
You're happy. You look good from this perspective. Yep. Okay. So you're happy with your video. You're happy with your audio.
Yes.
Can you see the timer?
Yes.
All right. Then are you ready to go?
Yes.
Then let's get started. Contestant number 1 in the speech contest this evening is Angela Heath. The SOAR card. The SOAR card, Angela Heath.
I'm an airplane. I'm Superman. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, don't you love the imagination of children? Children know no bounds, no limitations. They are always ready to soar. And I envy that so much that a few years ago, I started trying to figure out what makes some children soar their whole life into adulthood while others come back down to earth and never leave again. So I talked to the experts, I read a lot of books, and I came up with my own theory. It's called the SOAR card. Now, this is based on a very simple framework where I saw all of these experts saying the same thing. So what I like to do is share with you one of my old dreams from childhood that never grew up and take it through the SOAR card. And I'm going to challenge you, take one of your own dreams and goals that you let go of a long time ago. See if you can't pinpoint where you went wrong. So to start with, you need to decide and declare. Decide and declare. Now, when I use that phrase, I mean not just saying it. No. I mean putting some oomph behind it, making it real, getting it inside of yourself. This is something that you want, that you are willing to work toward, and then tell everybody. So when I think about my aspiration to be this well-known Broadway playwright, on that first aspect of the SOAR card, I have to give myself an X. No, I didn't decide and declare. I kept it to myself. But let me give you an example of someone who did it extremely well. Those of you who love boxing, you can remember, I am the greatest of all times. Muhammad Ali declared this so loudly over and over and over again to himself and to everyone who would listen. He had the media telling us that, and we believed it. But listen to this. Muhammad Ali declared it before he ever won one major fight. Isn't it amazing? The second aspect of the framework is called growth mindset it. Now, a growth mindset means that you feel that if there's a barrier or something blocking your way, that you can figure it out. You can learn more, you can practice more, but you can succeed. This is the way you think. A fixed mindset, on the other hand, believes only certain people are able to accomplish what you want to do, and you're not just that person. So when I grade myself on that, another big X. This is what I told myself. You can't spell very well. You're not good at grammar. You can't be a playwright, really? And then the final aspect is visualization. There's not one Olympic gold medalist who did not stand on the podium before they got to the Olympics. In the recesses of their imagination, they stood tall on the podium and they can feel the ribbon going over their head and they could feel the weight of that gold medal around their neck. They actually saw the lights flashing. They heard the crowd roaring, chanting their name over and over and over again. You see, they visualized it. And they really lived it before it actually happened. So when I think about my goal, I'm going to give myself a check mark because I actually did visualize myself being on Broadway. I visualized the crowd standing, giving me a standing ovation. I visualized that. But with the SOAR card, you got to get all 3 domains. And I only ended up with 1. So what does this mean for you? And what does it mean for me? It means that you could put a SOAR card up in your kitchen, your bedroom, wherever you can see it every day. And if you have a goal, you can remind yourself, you want to begin at the beginning, decide what you want, declare it to everyone who will listen. You want to use a growth mindset and know that with persistence, more education, more determination, you can make it. And then you want to visualize it. It's not too late for most of those goals. In fact, I'm bringing that old goal forward. I'm not too old to become a famous playwright. Neither are you. And if we use the SOAR card effectively, it won't be long that you and I will be like children and we will begin to soar. Back to you, Contest Master.
Thank you, Angela. That was Angela Heath, everybody, if you haven't gathered by now. The official rules call for a 1 minute of silence so our judges can mark their ballots with everybody muted. If you think about it, that's kind of a silly rule. Everybody's being quiet anyway, but I'm going to, Mr. Timer, if you could give me a minute so we can follow the rules. Judges, mark your ballots. Thank you, Mr. Timer. And now, judges, please finish marking your ballots while we get ready for our second contestant this evening. Our second contestant is Marty Sandler. Marty, my screen just rearranged itself. Where are you? There you are. Okay.
Here I
Marty.
am.
Yeah, great. Would you give us a mic check, please? Make sure we can hear you.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Can you see yourself on the screen, and do you like what you see?
Well, I see myself and I like the background I chose. And for the rest, well, I'll have to let you decide whether it looks good or not. My wife thinks it does.
Whoop, you muted yourself. There you go. No, we still can't hear you.
Well, I wasn't saying
Ah,
anything.
Oh, okay. Well, that would do it.
Okay.
All right. So you like the way you look, you like the way you sound. Can you see the timer?
I see the timer and I will try to conform.
Sounds good to us. Okay, then let's get started. If judges, prepare to mark your ballots. Everybody listen in to Marty Sandler's presentation. Our second contestant this evening is Marty Sandler, 6. Marty Sandler.
Well, my fellow Toastmasters, contest master, and anyone else who's listening, let me tell you what that 6 is all about. You see, I've been around for over 80 years, and I've lived in at least 6 areas. So I started thinking the other day about what was different about them and what mattered. I was born in the Bronx. For those of you who are unfortunate enough not to know the Bronx, it's one borough of New York City, the only one that's actually on the mainland. But that doesn't really matter. The fact is that it's a great place to grow up. And that's what I did for my first 20 years. But time goes on and things move you around. I became a college graduate with a degree in physics. And oddly enough, no place in the Bronx needed a physicist. So I had to look elsewhere. And I wound up with a company that was DuPont. I'm not sure what it is anymore. And they didn't need me in the Bronx. They needed me in New Jersey, southern New Jersey. I lived in a city called Woodbury, little tiny city. I found a lot different about living there. You know what got me most? There wasn't a decent Chinese food restaurant there. I grew up in an area where there were excellent restaurants of many types, and I was particularly fond of Chinese food, or, well, we called it Chinese food. I understand that very few Chinese people would recognize it as such, but that's their problem, not mine. I liked it. 20 years. And then suddenly I finished college, and what the heck do I do now? Well, I went to work, as it turns out, for DuPont. And I lived in a southern city in New Jersey, a city called Woodbury, New Jersey. And what was the first thing I found there? Not only no good Chinese restaurant, but no good Italian restaurant. And I like restaurants, I like variety. My wife thinks I'm nuts about food, and she's right. I'm not sure why I don't weigh 200 or 300 or 400 pounds, but I managed so far to stay a little below. But life goes on, and DuPont decided they didn't need me where I was anymore. They needed me in South Carolina. South Carolina. What world was that on? Oh, it's in the South, in the United States, in Georgia, to be exact. Well, actually, the laboratory was in South Carolina, but I lived in Augusta, Georgia, because it was less trivial than any place around. And in that time, I met a wonderful lady named Arlene. We got married and had 2 children while I was living in Augusta, Georgia. This posed an interesting little problem for me. Problem? What problem? You really want to know? Well, I'll tell you. What happened was that my kids grew up bilingual. They spoke English and they spoke Southern. What does that mean? It means they said, "Hi, Daddy," when I came home from work. And when they talked to a couple of people, they'd say, "Hey, y'all, what you up to?" But they were bilingual. I could listen to them and then say, "Okay, that sounds beautiful, but can you say it in English?" And sure enough, they'd say, "Hi, Daddy." They really were bilingual. What I learned was it didn't matter particularly either. What did matter was that when I was moved to the South, I also was moved away from just about any food that I liked. So what happened? Guess what? What do? You learn to cook, that's what. And I learned to do Chinese cooking. And I taught our kids a little bit about it. Eventually reached the point where no way, I've had it with this. I don't like living here. And I found a job, would you believe, in Florida. I moved to Sunrise, Florida. I found a job, and guess what? They decided I needed to be in California. Didn't like it either. You know why? Because it was cold. San Francisco is the only place I know of where the coldest day is like, oh, I don't know, like midwinter in New York, and the warmest day isn't much warmer than that. Well, that's life. I moved around. I've lived in 6 places. And let me say, it's wonderful. I love everything. And I particularly love being a member of this club and living in South Florida, which is where I am sitting at this moment. Mr. Contest Master, take it away.
Thank you, Marty. Marty Sandler, our second and final contestant for the evening. Judges, you now have 2 minutes to mark your ballots and do whatever tallying you need to do to make everything done. I'm going to ask everybody else, you can be as noisy as you like. You can be as disruptive as you like. Just keep yourselves muted. Mr. Timer, let me know when 2 minutes have gone by. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Timer. Thank you, judges. I assume that all of our judges have passed their results to our chief judge and/or ballot counter. I'm not involved in that particular part of the magic, and those people will be, the necessary people will be leaving the room. We can now proceed with the rest of the meeting because that concludes, except for, of course, obviously the announcement part of it, but we'll wait a little while on that. That concludes most of the contest for this evening. They said that there was a possibility that we might have a little bit of time left over, and so we wanted to have table topics in case there was an opportunity to do that. So fortunately, we have, I love this, we have as our table topics master this evening, Carolina Ramirez. And Carolina, I think we are going to have a little bit of time. So I hope you came prepared. Take it away, Carolina.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I came prepared, so be ready to speak. I remember when I was a child, I used to spend some afternoons with my sister watching the WWF fights, and my favorite fighter was The Undertaker. If you were a fighter, what would be your entrance theme song? And what would be your professional fighter name? What would be your finishing move? This question goes for Andre.
Thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. What a wonderful and easy question to ask. At the same time, it's really easy to answer. That wouldn't be the Undertaker. That wouldn't be the super strong hero. That wouldn't be a super miserable guy. I think I would change my identity on a regular basis. I would be a mystery man. Just imagine you arriving one day, all dressed up in glitter, being really, how to put it, being secretive with the mask on, and then you play the role of a superhero. And your move can be the Kia karate kick. And then your finishing line, ha ha ha, I'll be back. And then next time, you just play a shy hero. You don't know what you're doing here. You kind of slow and almost dancing in a waltz. And then you're doing your pirouette and gently tapping your opponent with your little finger. Boom! And it's gone. And the next time you appearing in completely different intro, you could be devil, all angry devil with the horns and all the fanfares, the firework with ladies walking around and completely different scenery. Again, you saying, ah, I'm right here to devastate you. And the final move, you just do the final punch. I would try different heroes, and we'll see what you come up with. I'll let my audience decide. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Andre, for your answer. You have your own, imagine that you have your own late night talk show, and you need it to be a success. Who do you invite as your first guest? And this question goes to Pamela.
Who would I invite for my first speaker in my talk show? At VTM last year, I was in charge of talent. And I had to find really, really funny, cool people to speak for no money. It was an easy job. Not really. I would look for someone from my own personal talk show, somebody who would make me laugh and make other people laugh. Now, there's a lot of people in the world that can do that. And not only would they be able to make other people laugh, but they would be Toastmasters. And do you know why I would want a Toastmaster? Because they would be saying, ah, When I listen to podcasts, when I listen to TV, when I listen to the news, I hear scatterings of ums and ahs. And now that I'm a Toastmaster, I just want to ring a bell. Ding, 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 ding. So on my talk show, no, that will be a Toastmaster who's mastered the art of speaking and conversation without crutch words. But that person would make you laugh. Any volunteers? Does anyone want to be on my talk show? Raise your hand. I'll send you an invite. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. Very demanding, your talk show. Remember the cartoons you used to watch when you were a child? If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose and why? And this question goes to Marianne Grady.
Well, one of my favorite cartoons when I was young was the Jetsons and how futuristic they were. And I always wondered, what would it be like to live in a world when you could talk on the screen, when you can do all these things? I think most of the things that I saw back then that weren't really around in the world back then are here today, with the exception of the flying cars. And, I'm still not sure we're close on that one. But I would hang out with Rosie, the robot, because she was kind of in on every little thing that was going on. She would know what Judy Jetson was doing, what Elroy was up to, and what George and Jane were. And she might give our boy George a little kick in the pants so he could stand up to that Mr. Spacely, that little dweeb. But I like that show a lot. And I still, occasionally get to view it. And I think it was so ahead of its time, but I really enjoyed it. And that's where I would be hanging out. Back to you, Madam Tabletop.
Thank you, Marianne. Usually when I have a problem, I avoid to ask for advice to a friend. They always have bad ideas, according to me. If I really need some orientation, I prefer to pay for an experienced psychologist. And I want to ask you, what's the worst advice you've been given? And this question goes to Bruce. Bruce Pokey? Oh, Pokey?
Getting there. Thank you, Madam Topics Master. You want to know the worst advice that I was given?
Yes.
Oh, where do I begin? There's so many pieces of bad advice that I've been given over time. One of them would probably have been, you should have been an accountant. No, I'll never be an accountant. I went the other direction. I became a salesman. The only thing I could count is commissions. Another thing that it was suggested that I be would be to have my own reality show. Not going to happen. I've determined that if I had a reality show, the title would be Boring with Bruce. There is not enough drama in my life to have a talk show or a reality show. And for the most part, I hate reality shows. Back to you, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you, Bruce. Some time ago, I read a Tim Ferriss book, and he said that the best diet is to eat the same healthy food every day in order to lose some weight and in order to be healthier. If you had to eat one meal every day, just one meal, for the rest of your life, what would it be? Andy?
Thank you very much. What food would I eat every single day and not lose interest? Well, that's an important question. But for me, as I think about it, fruits such as an apple, I can have an apple a day, keep the doctor away, or I can have a melon. The problems with melons is they're not in season all the time, so I'd have to work through that issue. But there are several foods that I can consider eating on a regular basis without losing interest in the food. So fruits that are in season would be one of them. But there could be others as well, but I have to really think about it. To have a food that I could eat every day that would maintain my interest and not put huge amount of weight on me. So it would be something I'd have to think about, maybe consult with a dietitian on what I could have that wouldn't mess up my body. And that would be it for my answer. Looking for the timer.
Thank you, Andy. That was a difficult question. And now, if you could choose any person from history to be your imaginary friend, who would it be and why? I have my own person in mind, and this question goes to Dr. Kirin, or Kyrin, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is she here or no?
I think she just left.
Yes.
Oh, there she is. She's there. Back.
So, thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Who in history? It's fascinating. Angela talked about one of my favorite people, and it's Muhammad Ali. And what I absolutely love, it's someone with incredible amount of confidence. I would have loved to sat and have dinner with him and to see what he was like when he's off. Because we've seen a lot of him when he's on, like, you know, like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and he just moves. So I would have loved to see just the polarity of that and whether or not just how he you know, what was recovery for him, like how, you know, what was his other side. I absolutely admire athletes, and I absolutely admire someone who has incredible amount of confidence. And what Angela said before was he was so confident even before winning a race, winning, you know, a match. So that ability to fill a room and to touch so many people's lives. So for me, that would be one of my ideal people to have dinner with, to hang around with. And if all it is just to give me a little bit of his energy, I would just die happy. So that would be my favorite person. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My favorite person is Coco Chanel. Internet can be your best ally or your worst enemy. What's your favorite way to waste time online, Melanie?
Madam Table Topics Master, my favorite way to waste time online. There's so many. YouTube, Facebook, anything you can dream of, just reading everything online, Wikipedia, reality TV. You can even watch TV online these days. And what's my favorite way? I don't know. There's just so many. And there's so many, you can go down the rabbit hole, just like Alice in Wonderland, and then just get caught up. And then suddenly it's 2 a.m. and you thought, I have to get to bed because I have to wake up for work tomorrow. So favorite way, I can't pick. There's just too many. I think what happens is you get caught up in something that's of interest, like maybe those athletes you were talking about or Muhammad Ali, and then suddenly you're in this research hole and you have to learn everything about what he was doing and why did he make those decisions and what are you doing next? And then suddenly, wow, it's the next morning and the sun's rising. And especially when you're on these online meetings, you don't even know what time of day it is. And with all of the curtains and everything else, you don't even know what's happening around you. Internet can just drag you in, and suddenly you're lost. So many ways. Back to you, Carolina.
Thank you very much, Melanie. I have more questions for you. Regarding my work, I hated all my first jobs until I found something I really love. What was the worst job you ever had? This question goes to Listen. Is she here? Yes. Listen.
Yes. Hey, that's a good question, Madam Topic Master. So what is the worst job I so far have? You know what? I really can't think of anything, consider it as my worst job, because, well, I'm just so lucky. And after high school, I went to college. I studied agriculture. And then after my college, I found a job in a research institution. I'm doing research. And then I've got opportunity to come to the US. And then to study first as a visiting scientist. And then I become a student to study plant science, entomology, and become a professor. I just feel like my life is just so, exciting, and I'm doing the job. Not only I love it, also it makes me feel proud because I am using a language is not on my own, and to instruct students and to give presentations to the international cohort in the scientific areas. So to answer the question, I really can't think of anything I don't like in my whole life. I can't think of the worst job. I just really, really enjoy what I've been doing. Back to you.
Thank you, Listen. Next question. This universe is so big and we are just starting to understand how and why we are here. If aliens landed on Earth tomorrow and offered to take you home with them, would you go and why? Graham.
Madam Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I do this every day. I mean, I don't physically get into a flying saucer and take off to another universe. But I think I've mentioned before in this club that one of the best gifts I was ever given as a child was a library card of my own, so I could take out whatever books I wanted on my own. And I'll be honest, I read all sorts of things, but my go-to staple, my comfort food of reading is science fiction. And so on a daily basis, I accept the invitations of those aliens and I go somewhere else. When I'm going for my daily walk around my shopping center, which is 5 kilometers undercover, no shade, no clouds, everything's perfect for walking for an old dude like me, I listen to books. And I have to tell you, my most common form of listening is science fiction. So as I say, I accept the invitations of those aliens every day to go out there to see what's happening. But that's all in my head, because if I actually was asked to physically accompany them, to go out where no man has gone before, to boldly split infinitives like they do in Star Trek, I'd probably have to say no, because I would not want to leave behind my wife, my children, the life that I love, and of course all of my friends in Toastmasters clubs like this, unless I could take you all with me. I guess I can, if I ever get round to writing the book of science fiction that's rattling around in the back of my head. You could all come with me as we go and explore the cosmos. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Raham. I would be very afraid to follow you, to be honest. And maybe you know, but the probability that we are alive on this earth is extremely low. If the universe is just a simulation, imagine that, what update or patch does it need? And this question is for Carl Wash.
I think it needs an update on the logic circuits, actually. We seem to be sort of weak on that, particularly nowadays. I think perhaps vision needs to be revamped. Our whole planning needs to be revamped. And well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. And I've often thought this, and I'll let you, I've never told anybody this. You know how we look out into the universe and we're a planet circling a sun, and the sun is just one of billions in a galaxy, and then there's billions of galaxies, one after the other. And I've always thought, are we just in an atom of something much larger? And here's hoping that whatever that much larger thing is doesn't have an accident. So maybe some safety features as well, not just from the outside, but from ourselves. And I'll quote a line that I heard, which is, I was talking to an alien the other day, and I asked them what they were doing. And they said, searching for intelligent life. I said, well, don't look here.
Thank you, Karen. Do we have more time for questions, or? Yes?
We do.
We do indeed.
Okay. Most of us love books and movies. The question is, what's your favorite line from a book or a movie? Rick Derling.
Just to confirm, what's my favorite line from a book or movie?
Yes.
Thank you. That's an excellent question. I've been listening to everybody talk about the universe. And from my perspective, quite honestly, I think Douglas Adams had it correct. The answer is 42. The real trick is, what is the question? And Douglas Adams did an absolutely marvelous job exploring how really wacky and wonderful our universe probably is. He even did a great deal of exploring the universe that is Earth. This is the reason why, from my perspective, the answer being 42 is really part and parcel to everything that goes on this planet. We're a universe that is very tiny, to be sure, but when you start exploring this planet and taking a look at just exactly how marvelous, wacky, and silly, and frankly, at times, just incredibly stupid, I cannot fathom actually any better line from a book than Douglas Adams pointing out that the universe is really, really big. So big that you can't possibly conceive of how big it is. It's even bigger than that. I think that's a great line from a book. Thank you very much for that question.
Thank you very much, Rick. I always remember the lines from the Fight Club. If you were left on a deserted island with either your worst enemy or no one, which would you choose and why, David?
My worst enemy or no one. Well, actually,
No.
this ties in with something we were just talking about, which was reading. As long as I get to bring a well-stocked Kindle, I need a battery recharger if I can bring a Kindle or a stack of books. I'm fine with no one. I don't want to be with. Why would I want to be my worst enemy on a desert island? Because you just said is my worst enemy. It's my worst enemy. We're not going to make up. We're not going to become friends. We're probably just going to remain at each other's throats throughout all eternity. And that does not seem like a very good way to spend time on a desert island. But then, of course, many of you probably remember the Twilight Zone episode with the gentleman who is always looking for time to read, and people are pestering him. His wife is paying too much attention to him. His kids are interrupting him. Other people are interrupting him. And he just wants some time to sit down and read. And the nuclear war comes along. He's trapped inside a bank vault at the time. When he comes out, the world is destroyed, but he's able to sit down. And now he's got some time to read. And of course, he immediately breaks his glasses and is therefore unable to read because he's apparently quite, I think I would be holding it up to the eyes quite closely. But I don't want a nuclear war to wipe us all out. In fact, this is a bad month to be talking about the possibility of nuclear war. It suddenly seems a little bit more potential. So I'm not wishing you all ill, but the question was, on a desert island, yeah, I'd rather be by myself with a stack of books or a Kindle and a charger. I'm Table Topics Master.
Thank you, David. Maybe the island is the opportunity to release the tension with your enemy. A great opportunity. If you could be any supernatural creature, what would you be and why, Lou?
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. Wow, that's an a supernatural creature. Wow, there are so many that I don't want to be. I'm not sure if wizard falls in that category, since witch may be considered a supernatural creature. I guess wizard might be too. I think wizard would be cool because I'm thinking of, and wizards have been portrayed in so many different ways with different types of powers. But for me, the ideal wizard would be somebody who could travel through time. At the snap of my fingers, I could be wherever I want to be. Not to change time or change anything about it because of that whole paradox thing. Don't want to accidentally cause my dad or mom to have an accident, especially my mom, before I'm conceived. But so that I can simply observe, because there's so much information out there about history that's always very difficult to discern whether it's true or false. I would really love to be in the moment, in these places where there is talk about what happened at this point in time, just to see if it either was true or something different happened, or more so, what is the background behind it? Everyone has their opinion about things, especially these days. A lot of different opinions about history, more so because it's near impossible to really find out what the truth is in so many cases. So I'm like, you know what? If I could be a wizard and simply go back in time to a lot of events that I'm particularly interested in to see exactly how things went and why, just to simply learn more about history in general, I think that'd be an awesome power and an awesome supernatural creature to be. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Lou. Awesome power. What are some of your guilty pleasures, Angela?
Can you repeat the question?
What are some of your guilty pleasures?
Guilty pleasures? I don't have any guilty pleasures, Madam Table Topics Master. All the things I do, they might not be good for you, but they're good to me. I like to eat chocolate. I love to make chocolate. I love to eat popcorn and all of those kinds of things. I love to sleep in. I never get a chance to do it, but I would prefer to be lazy, but I just don't have that as an option. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any guilty pleasures. I do love to read, and I used to fill my bed up with books once upon a time until someone told me that there was no room for a husband, and that's why I was single. So I gave up the books. But in terms of guilty pleasures, I used to be a shopasaurus, but I refrained from that because I just don't like the whole process these days of shopping and then going back because something's wrong, or shipping it back and all of that. So I gave that up. I used to kiss my son too much. That was a guilty pleasure. And when he grew older, he said, "Mom, please stop kissing me." So other than that, table topics master, I don't think I have any, but that gives you a sense of the kind of person I am. Back to you.
Thank you, Angela. My guilty pleasure is alcohol. If you could rename yourself, imagine that you have that opportunity. What name would you pick and why, Jim?
Madam Topics Master, I would be delighted to answer that question, but I just had a text from our chief judge saying that we needed to end table topics about this point. So as much as I would love to answer that question, and I have an absolutely brilliant response, we're going to call it quits for this evening. But that was a terrific line of table topics questions. Thank you so much, Carolina Rodriguez. Carolina,
I like the way you got out of that,
I'm
Jim.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I like the way you got out of that.
I'm telling you, I am good. I am good. All right. Now it's time for me to turn things over to our chief judge who knows what's going on. He's going to tell us what's going on. Chief Judge, the one and the only David Carr.
Thank you, sir. Let me encourage everybody to unmute for a moment or two. I know we tell you to mute. Now we're telling you to unmute. And this is the part where you give a big round of applause to everybody who competed, all two of them, and to everybody who supported the event.
Hey, well done. Well done.
One of the things we sometimes miss out on online. So thank you to both Marty Sandler and Angela Heath for being contestants today. It takes some courage just to step forward, put yourself in the firing line, and be judged. Actually, we sometimes pride ourselves in Toastmasters about not being too judgmental, but when you're in the contest, you are going to be judged. We do now have some winners to announce. We really have one winner to announce, but here come the winners in the video speech contest for 2022. Second place goes to Marty Sandler. And the first place, the winner of our video speech contest, who will go on to have her video shipped off to Toastmasters International and have a chance to be #1 video speaker in the world, is, the suspense is killing you. Who could it be? It is Angela Heath. Hey, Angela.
Hey, well done, Angela.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Marty. Second place. Yay.
And again, congratulations to both the
judges
contestants.
were very smart. I agree with their decision.
Okay, there we go. And thank you to Graham for helping out as timer, Rick for helping out as ballot counter. Now we do have another contest coming up in just a couple of weeks. That's on the website, and everybody is eligible to compete in the video speech the webinar contest. Excuse me, the webinar contest, not the video speech contest. You're all eligible to compete. The only trade-off is it's not an official Toastmasters contest format. But it is still an opportunity to show that you are the best of the online presenters. And if you win at our club, you should have an opportunity to move on to VTMCon on April 23rd. Presuming I can get some issues ironed out with Toastmasters International, which is giving me grief right at the moment. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a VTMCon on April 23rd, and I hope you'll all be there. Look up vtm.toastmost.org. I'll post that in the chat. With that, let me hand things back to our contest master, who I think is going to continue on as Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, David. I'll be happy to, but I really only want to note one thing. David indicated his appreciation to the various people who participated in the contest, but I want to extend my appreciation to David because he's the one that did all the work behind the scenes. The contest would not have happened without him. So thank you, David Carr. That's about all that I have to say. This has been a terrific contest, really been enjoyable, and a collection of great table topics. I loved those. Those were great, Carolina. I'm so sorry that I couldn't participate, but maybe next time.
Did we have a vote for table topics?
I don't know. Do we have a vote? Did we collect any votes? Who was our vote counter? I lost track.
I am the vote
Was it
counter, and
Rick?
I've been watching as people are voting. So far, I've got a three-way tie.
Ah, okay. We can go with a three-way tie.
Surprise.
You provide the final vote there, Rick.
Well, at this point, I know that, but I can't break a three-way tie very easily. So I'm just going to announce the three people that have at this point gotten the most votes. Mary Ann Grady, Dr. Karen Hall, and Graham Carnes. Congratulations.
Cool. Congratulations to all three of our table topic winners. Well done. All right. And that concludes my participation in the extravaganza this evening. I happily return control to our president de jour, Louis Brown. And I think Lou's going to probably ask our guests what they thought of the meeting, but I'll turn it back to Lou.
You must be a supernatural creature, Mr. Contest Master, because you just read my mind. Very good, sir. And yes, and thank you for being the Toastmaster of the event, the Contest Master. We definitely appreciate your time and effort in that regard. Wonderful show. And again, congratulations to Marty and Angela. We look forward to, Angela, your entry being sent off and you being crowned the world champion of video speech contest. Awesome. Looking forward to that. David mentioned, just another reminder, we have the webinar speech contest coming up on the 21st, March 21st. Winner of that will then go on to VTMCon. I'll ask David if you have any other aspects of VTMCon in a second. I would first like to get to our guests to see what they thought of our club, of our special event today. Melanie, what do you think of our contest and our club?
I really enjoyed today, great speeches, and I really enjoyed the table topics questions, both the table topics questions and the replies. I'm glad I didn't get all of your questions and I only got my one. Thanks. I'd like to come along again to the webinar speech contest and maybe to a regular meeting just to see what it's like.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Yes, we'd certainly welcome you to join us at a future meeting next week if possible. That'd be awesome. And feel free to attend as often as you like, just like with any Toastmasters club, you can visit as long as you like. But we know that you will love us so much, like Graham does, because he's in about, 30 clubs, and he still loves, he will never miss an online presenters club that you would probably will be a member of our club. Anyway, I'm sure our Vice President membership, Mary Ann Grady, will follow up with you after today. Okay, Dave, do you have any other things you'd like to share about VTMCon at the moment? You need speakers, you need help with roles, you need anything, or simply announcements of things?
We're bringing the call for speakers to a close. So Jim Barber, who's on the talent committee, as well as Linda Marie Miller, and I will be getting together to finalize the last couple of speakers. But we do have Mike Carr, the 2020 world champion, scheduled to be a featured speaker. He's also going to be master of ceremonies for our webinar contest at VTM Con. We have several other great speakers lined up, and we'll be announcing the whole program very soon, I hope. We
And
are
David,
looking
the
for,
exact day again is, and time is what?
it is April 23rd, and you should go to vtm.toastmos.org to look up details. I'm actually going to be launching a separate website for it soon, but haven't quite gotten there yet.
What time?
I think the earliest event is at 11. We run for several hours, and then we actually take an extended break. And then the second portion of the event is scheduled to be at least a little bit more humane to folks from Australia, several of whom wanted to participate, but didn't necessarily want to get up in the middle of what's in the middle of the night for them. So we're attempting to stretch across time zones and allow many people to attend part of it, at least, and hopefully quite a few people to attend the full glorious event. One of the things that we did last time that was extremely popular was what were called the tech tip sessions. So these were 3 to 5 minute speeches on how to use Camtasia or Prezi or some other tool. They were all tech focused, but we're planning to actually split that up and do a session in the earlier block of programming and a session in the later block of programming. So we're just starting recruiting for that. Again, we do encourage as many of you who have a good idea to come and compete at the webinar contest. That's going to be a lot of fun at our club level, so that you can have a chance to go on to VTM Con. And we're certainly still looking for volunteers for a few roles. I could use a contest master for that event. If somebody would like to step up, please get in touch with me. I think I have somebody to be chief judge. But so anyway, it's something we're looking forward to in just a few weeks, and I'll shut up because I've taken up enough time.
Dave, you can sign me up for contest master. Be happy to help.
That'd be great. Okay, good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for all that information. Appreciate it. Members, please go to our club website and sign up for roles for next week and future meetings if possible as well. I am sure our VPE, if we don't have a Toastmaster already for the meeting, we'll be sending out reminders to all of you as well as the other members who aren't with us this week. Also, dues are due, like they are every cycle at this point, by March 31st. If you haven't submitted your dues, we'd love you to do so and continue to be an awesome member of our club. Pamela may either follow up with folks who have not, just as another reminder, or feel free to go to the website and click that join button and renew your membership. And remember that we have both the 6-month and the annual dues amount. And with the annual amount, you do not pay for the club dues twice. Okay. With that, I officially call this meeting to a close. Please stop the recording.